What is going on, people? Now, let's break it down, man. This week has been pretty tough to trade, if we're being honest, right? There's going to be some people out there going to be like, man, this week has been easy to trade. You just got to look for the imbalance and fucking FEG, blah, 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 right? I don't care about none of that, right? For the most part, this week has been difficult to trade. You are probably feeling a lot of frustration, FOMO, confusion, especially if you are new to trading, right? And I'm here to break it down for you. I'm here to hold your hand and guide you through it. Okay. So, what is going on right now with the markets, with US, with USD, with gold, right? There's a lot of different factors fundamentally. Okay. We have, first of all, the most important one, which is what is driving the market or has been driving the market over the last couple of months, which is the tariff talks, right? Trump tariff talks. And I'm just going to pull up my Discord right now and I'm going to go to my fundamental section because I post some fundamental analysis in here and we're going to go through it, right? I posted this morning. But what is driving the markets right now or driving the US and gold and causing a risk on, risk off kind of, um, you know, back and forth, which is tariffs, right? Now, at the moment, tariffs are bringing a lot of uncertainty. Okay. Trump is talking about that they're bringing in a lot of money, but they're bringing in a lot of uncertainty as well because there's tensions between countries, between trade talks and trade breakdowns. With the EU coming out most recently saying that if the US implements a tariff on EU trade, the EU US trade, that they're going to stop EU US trade completely. Right now, this is massive. So we have that side of the spectrum, and then the other side we have then um, the recent data that is coming out, inflation, PPI, and then we got interest rates coming up, right, which is going to be a big one, which the market is definitely eyeing up, which is going to definitely move it, especially with Trump and Powell going back and forth at each other, right? Trump over the last month has just been pounding Powell, right? Absolutely pounding him, telling him to drop the rates, cut the rates. Now he's telling him to resign. Now he's trying to get him fired. He's trying to replace him so he can replace him with somebody more aligned with his policies to cut the interest rates, right? And if that happens, we're going to definitely see gold start to fly back to all-time highs. I'm almost certain of that. But with everything that's going on, tariff talks, trade tensions, then US, inflation, interest rates, Fed, Trump. There's a lot of things going on right now within the US that is kind of um, pulling gold back and forth, right? It's not sure what to do yet, right? Um, August 1st is going to be a very important date because that's when these tariffs are going to get settled, or for the most part, um, unless he, unless he comes out and says, oh, we're going to give you an extension or whatever, which he's been doing. But August 1st is when those tariffs are going to get set in place, I believe, or they're going to come to some sort of agreement with most countries. And the upcoming interest rate data is going to be very important as well because at this point, I don't know if the US or people in the market are going to be paying too much attention to Powell anymore because right, how long is that going to be in effect for, right? Is Powell going to stand down? Is Trump going to fire him? If Powell comes out and he refuses to cut rates again, how long is that going to realistically last, right? Because as soon as Trump replaces him with the next person, I'm sure he's got somebody lined up. They're going to cut the interest rate straight away. So, is the credibility of Powell really, are people really going to be listening to him that much anymore? Who knows, right? It's bringing a lot of uncertainty at the moment into the markets, and that's why we are seeing, this kind of price action and this kind of sideways movement. For the most part, we are seeing obviously, short term moves, and then it goes back into consolidation. Then we see short term moves, and then consolidation. But if you are feeling, again, I've just uploaded another video right here. I know the markets have been tough lately. If you're feeling confused, frustrated, or getting caught up in a bit of FOMO, just know that that's completely normal, especially in conditions like this, and especially if you are new to trading, right? You're going to be looking at the markets right now, and you're going to be thinking, damn, like, what the hell is going on? I don't know whether I don't know if the market's going up, if it's going down, like, what's happening. Like, you're just going to be, gonna be going crazy right now, right? But I recorded a video for the team, 35-minute video here just prior to this. But going over the fundamentals, we've seen gold bounce overnight with the PPI data. This called off some inflation worries, and the US pulled back slightly because of it. What's happening with the US and the Fed? This is what pushed price up here yesterday, right? It was the fact that if we go to my newsfeed section in Discord, if we go up a little bit, boom, 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 where is this? Is this here? Trump has drafted a letter to fire the Fed chair, right? Um, White House official breaking. Trump is likely to fire Powell soon, right? This was correlating right here with this move to the upside. And if this is true, if this data is real and they are, likely to fire Powell soon, or he has drafted a letter to the Fed to fire the Fed chair, that is what has moved gold. Okay, that is what moved gold right here, because this is huge, right? The Fed, the head of the Fed, the Fed chair, Powell, is the person who directly controls the path of the U.S. economy and the U.S. dollar, with the politics, right? With interest rates and everything like that, what they implement, what they decide to do. So that is why you saw that sharp spike to the upside right here. And if we just go back, the Fed is under pressure right now. Trump is pushing for rate cuts, right? Trump is constantly saying on True Social and on social media, cut the rates, cut the rates. Inflation is down. We need to cut the rates. He wants to cut them by, I think, 3 points. He wants to bring, I think their current interest rates are at 3 or 4, and he wants to bring them down to 1. So that's a massive cut if they do actually do that. And has even called for Powell to resign. There's also talk of replacing him, which is adding more uncertainty, right? On the trade side, Trump is still pushing his new tariffs, 10 to 50% on places like Africa, Brazil, and possibly the EU and Mexico. That's keeping inflation in the conversation and could lead to more market volatility. What this means for gold, a weaker USD helps gold, of course. We all know that, right? In terms of if they do lower interest rates, in terms of if they do replace Powell, in terms of what's going to happen here with the US and all of these countries in terms of tariffs. The possibility of this is that it's going to make the US short term stronger, but overall a lot weaker. And we're going to see gold continue to rise with the risk on, safe haven talk, right? Safe haven with people. When US starts to, a lot of tension and uncertainty, people start flooding into gold, right? And safe haven demand, that's what I was trying to get at. Safe haven demand is still there because trade risks and all of the noise around the Fed, right? That's basically what I was just trying to explain. It's a lot. I'm trying to get it out as best as I can. If the market gets more risk-off headlines, well, the Fed cracks under pressure, gold could push higher again, right? So basically, if we look at that on a chart now, what happened yesterday with the DTG system, it is recommended to not trade during CPI PPI days. This is part of the system. But if you did want to take an entry right here, there was a somewhat valid system entry. There wasn't clear bias at this point. If we look at the DTG indicator and we go back to this setup, you can see if we look in the top right that the bias was actually neutral. There wasn't a clear bullish bias here. Okay. Now there was a fair bit of bullish confluence in terms of the system points of confluence, inside bar candles, liquidity being grabbed down here, retracement levels being tapped, and then price pushing up and giving us an entry. But using the system trade management techniques, the initial stop loss would have been around about 45 to 50 pips. But managing that trade, as soon as this candle closed bearish right here, this is when we switch on. We switch into trade management mode, boom, and we push our stop loss up right underneath this bullish candle low, halving that stop loss for around about 25 pips. So we've gone from like a 45, 50 pip stop loss to a 25 pip stop loss, okay? Because we do not want to be in this trade anymore if we have a bearish closure and a break of structure and price just continues down here, right? which is exactly what happens within the next candle. Boom, right? So we took a small loss there. I didn't personally take this trade. Um, this was all walked through live in the Discord in the live stream. I did have buy stops, but I put my buy stops once this wick was formed. I put my buy stops up here to get triggered if this candle reflipped back bullish after it started driving down here, but it didn't. So I personally didn't take this trade. But if you did take this trade, you would have taken a half loss here, so 0.5%. And if we look at the Academy database, which is I've just recently started since last week or this week, pretty much. You can see here that, for the most part, this is a 2% gain, a 5% gain, a break even, a 2% gain, and a 0.5% loss. So overall, from these trades, it's about an 8.5% gain, right? Or about 8.5 risk to reward ratio, however you want to look at it. So again, if you want to trade on these days, it is very risky. It's very choppy. This is the days that I tend not to trade. And or trade after news. Okay, take the trades after news like we did yesterday for CPI. No trades before CPI. This is where CPI dropped right here. After that, about 30 minutes to an hour after, we get a beautiful sell setup, aligning with the system, aligning with the bias, aligning with confluence, and a 15-minute sell signal from the indicator right here. Returned a 1 to 2 plus more, but a 1 to 2, 110 pips also, which is available to watch in yesterday's breakdown on YouTube. But other than that, there was potential for another setup down here, which would have ended up being break even. But you're basically pushing into a lot of bullish liquidity and bullish key zones right here, which you can see from this overall green level. We're pushing into that level where we've rejected here once, twice. We're grabbing a lot of bullish liquidity over here to the left-hand side, SLS, TLS, 12, 8 IB as well. If you're not understanding of any of these concepts, do not worry. You will learn them all in the DTG Academy. Do not stress it. You do get some confluence for this sell signal. You get EFF right here, key sell zone, you get rejection from and price sells off, literally straight from that zone right here. If you're looking at this playing out in real time, you are seeing price opens up, rejects that zone perfectly, starts to sell off. You get a 15-minute IBO. This is one of our entry models. This sell signal doesn't get triggered. This is an invalid signal, but you get an IBO here of this intraday breakout level right here. You get triggered. Price drives down. I mean, you see about, 50 pips profit, maybe a little bit more here with this 15-minute candle coming down. About 70 pips profit. And once this candle closes bullish, your moving stops to break even, which is exactly what happened. And then from there, boom, you get out of break even, price retraces. And at this point, you've grabbed all the bullish liquidity from the left-hand side, as well as the bullish divergence down here, as well as tapping into this overall bullish level. And then price drives up. This also correlated with the fundamentals of that news breaking of Trump drafting to fire Powell, right? And then we drive up into bearish liquidity over here, DLS. And then from that point, we grab that bearish liquidity and we sell off again. So all the levels you can see, price actually then comes down to retest this EFF level. You can see the precision of all these DTG system levels, absolute precision, right? Of this overall bullish level, then the absolute spike to the T off of this divergence level down here. Literally one spike and we fly up, grabbing all the liquidity to the left-hand side over here. Again, rejection, rejection, rejection of this level. You can then see the rejection of this level right here to come down. Then we break it and retest it and reject. Then we reject the DLS level to the left-hand side. Liquidity, sell off. This is the DTG system. Very precise, very accurate, a structured, clear, simple system which enables you to consistently enter the market with confidence, with a clear trading plan, clear risk management plan. We're getting just crazy results across the board. Results over here, $493 made, right? Using the FLS, that's this level right here that I talked about over here, maybe. FLS, you know, $493 right there. He's good for the month. That's a quarter of his monthly paycheck. So, yeah, that's that. We got more results being posted up here. Yesterday, profit is still profit. Either you win or you learn. Some nice profits there. Took a couple losses, but made it back with discipline and patience. 4-hour fib right here, 2-hour signal confluence, $295. That was yesterday too. Yesterday at 11 p.m. Previous day, beautiful, right? Absolutely beautiful, beautiful results from members understanding the system, following the system, executing on the system, staying patient, staying disciplined, being consistent. And that is it, man. That is it. That is today's video. A loss, potentially, a break even. But overall, lessons to be learned, more data to be added to the database over here. And we move, we continue, we learn, we grow, we push, we remain disciplined, we remain consistent. We wait for the system to give us the right setups and we execute. And that is it. If you want to come and join us in the DTG Academy, plug in my trading system and the DTG indicator right here and start taking these setups with us every single day on gold or any pair for that matter. The link is down below. Comment if you have any questions, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 5K. I appreciate you. I love you. Let's get it. And I'll see you in the next video.